The Indo-Pacific power struggle, US-China rivalry and its global implications. Welcome to Strategic Vanguard, your trusted source for deep dives into global defense and geopolitical issues. Today, we're talking about one of the most critical geopolitical rivalries shaping our world today, the power struggle between the United States and China in the Indo-Pacific region. This rivalry isn't just about two superpowers. It has global implications, affecting everything from military strategy to trade routes, alliances, and global security. Let's dive into the Indo-Pacific power struggle, US-China rivalry and its global implications. What is the Indo-Pacific? First, let's define the Indo-Pacific. This region stretches from the east coast of Africa, across the Indian Ocean, all the way to the Pacific Ocean. It includes major players like India, Japan, Australia, and of course, China and the United States. Why is this region so important? Because it's home to some of the world's busiest trade routes. Nearly 60% of global maritime trade passes through the Indo-Pacific. It's also rich in resources, from oil and gas reserves to rare earth minerals. But perhaps most importantly, it's the center of an unfolding great power rivalry. US versus China. The strategic chessboard at the heart of this struggle are two countries: the United States, the long-standing dominant military power, and China, the rising superpower. China views the Indo-Pacific as its backyard and is aggressively expanding its influence, particularly through military expansion and its Belt and Road Initiative. China has been building artificial islands in the South China Sea, turning them into military bases. Meanwhile, the United States has been bolstering its alliances with countries like Japan, Australia, India, and South Korea, what many call the Quad. The aim? To counter China's growing influence. In recent years, we've seen an increase in military drills and standoffs, particularly in the South China Sea, one of the most contested regions globally. Whoever controls this region controls critical shipping lanes, which translates into economic and strategic power. Economic warfare and influence, but it's not just about military might. The US and China are also competing in the economic realm. China's Belt and Road Initiative is aimed at building infrastructure across Asia, Africa, and Europe, creating a vast network that ties countries closer to Beijing. The US sees this as a way for China to extend its influence, effectively buying loyalty from smaller nations by building their roads, ports, and railways. On the other side, the US is pushing for a free and open Indo-Pacific, focusing on maintaining international rules and norms, especially the freedom of navigation through international waters. This competition between US free market ideals and China's state-driven economic influence has left many countries in the region with a tough choice: align with the US, partner with China, or try to balance relations with both. The role of regional players. Regional powers play a crucial role in this power struggle. India, for example, is a growing counterbalance to China. As a member of the Quad, India has strengthened military cooperation with the US, Japan, and Australia, but it's also trying to maintain its strategic autonomy. Japan and Australia are also key US allies, working to ensure a stable Indo-Pacific through both military and economic means. Japan, in particular, has been modernizing its military and expanding its security roles, while Australia has been deepening its defense ties with the US through programs like the AUKUS Pact. Then there's the ASEAN nations, who often find themselves caught between the two giants. For them, the challenge is maintaining sovereignty without becoming pawns in this great power competition. Global implications. So, why does this rivalry in the Indo-Pacific matter to the rest of the world? First, if tensions escalate, it could lead to military conflict, which would disrupt global trade and economic stability. For example, a standoff in the South China Sea could block vital shipping lanes, impacting everything from oil supplies to electronics. Second, this competition has the potential to reshape global alliances. European countries are increasingly concerned about China's rise, and even NATO is turning its focus toward China as a long-term challenge. Countries around the world may have to pick sides in this rivalry, just as they did during the Cold War. Lastly, this power struggle could set the tone for the future world order. Will we see a US-led democratic system of alliances and trade, or a China-driven authoritarian model backed by state-led economic influence? What's next? The US-China rivalry in the Indo-Pacific is far from over, and its outcomes could shape the future of global politics. As these two superpowers compete for influence, the region, and the world, are watching closely. Will this rivalry lead to conflict, or can the Indo-Pacific find a path to peace and cooperation? We'll be covering these developments as they unfold, so make sure to subscribe to Strategic Vanguard and hit that notification bell for more in-depth analysis on defense, politics, and global affairs. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.